Sometimes you gotta take humiliation. You gotta take sacrifice. You gotta stop hanging out with your friends. You gotta look like you're being stupid. You gotta play dumb. Sometimes you gotta do that. There was at one point, forget me, I was with my wife. I was working 2 jobs, working a construction place, painting roofs, cutting trees, coming home from the first job, watching the kids in the morning because my wife is at work, going back to the other job, and I was hitting the gym. No sleep for straight 2 years. And now I live the best life I want to live. More life, more wealth, more health, and a peace of mind. Welcome to the Zulunation family. So, when my mom was young, she lived in South Africa. And when she lived in South Africa, she lived that old school life. Whoa! When she was in a hut, raising animals, doing that. And when she grew up, her grandfather used to put her on a bike and ride for miles to get her to school. Actually, they even used to knock on neighbors' doors and they would know that he's outside and they would not open the door and things like that. Then you fast forward later, and my mom, when she was 16, she ended up being pregnant with my brother and she was going to nursing school. And with the culture of being in Africa, that was kind of shamed on, you're too young to having kids, but she pulled through and became a nurse and did what she had to do. And I only say that to say this. Sometimes life throws you situations and you can't complain about them. You just gotta deal with them, and that's resilience. You know what I mean? Like, you need resilience and sacrifice in life to get to where you get to. So now we're gonna fast forward and come into my life. I'm older. I'm living in apartment which cost us $400. We actually had to put our own towel and our own things, and I even had to have a dog inside the house because we didn't live in a good neighborhood. And I don't know what happened, but my wife got pregnant, and I'll say this, I used to be one of those guys, I'm smoking weed all the time, I'm not at home, I'm out in the streets, and something happened where my wife got pregnant and something hit me. And then that's when I was like, you know what, no more of that, no more spending my last dollar on that. My wife was stealing from her job, and I'm not gonna say what job, and we were stealing from Walmart. I was drinking all the time, and when she got pregnant and got married, something changed in me, and I started making those sacrifices. And the first sacrifice we did was actually move far from everybody. We got a house, and we had no car. We walked everywhere. There were people who would see me walking and be like, hey, I saw you walking over here, not offering me a ride. It was so bad that my son would get dark, he'd get burnt, my dad would get burnt. We'd be pushing the stroller with bags of groceries, but I wasn't around my friends. I walked that walk, and I was going to school to be where I'm at right now. But the problem was I was failing my registration test to get my license, and I kept failing, I kept failing. And the thing was, I was not the best of students, so I decided to make a choice to go back to the school. It was humiliating. Some of the teachers who never liked me were like, I was going back to get tutored, and I have a teacher named Stephen Hegarty, and he would help me out all the time. Beat it into me. Man, I'm telling you, I failed that test so many times, and it wasn't a test where money was little, you know what I mean? Or you paid for it. So not only did I have to come up with the money with no job, my wife's working, she's pregnant, I gotta come up with the money, I gotta go keep taking it, and when I see the person giving me the test, they looking at me like, you again, but sooner or later, I passed that test. I sacrificed hanging out with my friends. I took humiliation. Even the school I went to, from going to a big school that is a college to a trade school, people are like, oh, you're going to a school where you're not going to get paid enough. You know, all kinds of things. But when I finally passed that test, like I remember, you know, you wait at that moment and this thing prints out the paper and the person looks at the paper, and then that moment they're looking at it and you're like, did I pass? Because they're looking at it too long or too short. But I passed, you know, started my job and, you know, moved out and did all that. And then you fast forward with the dogs, you know, now I lost my car. I can't buy a house. The stock market is crazy. The house market in Arizona is huge. And I'm thinking, you know, I need to get another car. But I was like, now I'm going to sacrifice having a car. I'm going to sacrifice, you know, buying more dogs. I got to get this dog on a payment. You know, I'm getting all this money, but I got to tell people I can't pay you back. I can't do this. I can't do that. I took that whole shame and I got my house. And it's a year later, I don't have a car. It's a year later, I don't have a lot of things. You know, even when in my house, I don't have a bedroom set. That I have a $4,000 bedroom set I put money on, but I haven't finished paying it off because I'm sacrificing that to have more things. And now I'm, you know, living what I'm living, doing what I'm doing. I only say that to say this. Sometimes you got to take humiliation. You got to take sacrifice. You got to stop hanging out with your friends. You know, you got to look like you're being stupid. You got to play dumb. You know, sometimes you got to do that. There was at one point, forget me, I was with my wife. I was working 2 jobs, working a construction place, painting roofs, cutting trees, coming home from the first job, watching the kids in the morning because my wife is at work, going back to the other job, and I was hitting the gym. No sleep for straight 2 years. And now I live the best life I want to live. Yes, do I have issues? Yes. Do things happen? Yes, but you have to sacrifice. People will judge you. And that's the reason I come back to this. My grandfather built this. You feel me? And it's not even my grandfather, it's my great-grandfather. Wherever he's at, I hope he's happy, because I wonder, does he now look at it like, man, if I didn't knock at that door and they didn't answer the door, if I didn't ride my bike to get to where I need to get to, will I have this building? You cannot build nothing without sacrifice and resilience. You know, you gotta keep strong. You gotta have a strong back. You gotta keep going. And whatever you're doing now affects people later. So the reason I became who I am is because I heard that story. I watched my mom, and then I applied the same principles to myself. My wife saw me going through what I'm doing and applied those things to her life, and now she's successful where she is. And I hope my kids, I hope you're listening, I hope you're watching. At one point, when they go through a struggle, when they feel about quitting, when they think they can't build, you know what I mean? They remember my story. You are being watched. My grandfather didn't know that, you know, generations down, look where I'm at. I'm in America, from hut to America. The bloodline is strong. So hit the like, the subscribe, the notification. And remember, this is Zulunation, baby.
Halala, halala sanbongela, halala, halala sanbongela we. Halala, halala sanbongela, halala, halala sanbongela.